Sensational Sundays with your girl Elise on Flashpoint Radio. Come, let's talk, let's hang, let's just jam on Sunday, 3 p.m. Flashpoint Radio. Welcome to another episode of Sensational Sunday. I hope you have been having a sensational day and that you had a sensational week. No matter what kind of day or week you had, be reassured you are tuned in at the right time, and indeed you are at the right place. So it's time for you to share the link. Tell a friend to tell a friend that something amazing is happening on this episode of Sensational Sunday. I'm your girl Elise, and you know, I'm superfragilistically, espialidociously happy to be here at this time, at this very place. Yeah, and I'm not alone. I am not alone. Today we have an extraordinary guest in studio. You know, we bring the stories that add value to your life, some motivation to kickstart your day, your week, your month. You have tuned in at the right time. Now our guest in studio today is Dr. Ian LAVINE. Yes, and I'm sure you want to find out a little bit more about who this very special guest in studio is. So let's get right into it. Now our guest, Dr. Ian LAVINE, is a certified neurocoach, self-talk trainer, chaplain, behavior consultant, and personal life coach. Dr. LAVINE is the founder of LAVINE NeuroCoaching Ltd, where he helps leaders and their teams manage day-to-day stress and mental clutter, boosting resilience, confidence, mental agility, and productivity. Welcome to Flashpoint. Welcome to Sensational Sunday.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to be here. And your energy is so high. I hope that I can maintain this energy level.
I hope it is contagious. You know, we have recently gone through an epidemic, an extremely contagious one.
Absolutely.
And the enthusiasm that's right here, it's more contagious.
I can feel it, and I know the audience can also feel it.
Now, you have just reading just a little bit about you sparks so much interest. I've always spoken about stress and wondered if there was a magic pill. You know, a lot of the disorders, the physical disorders in life, they really come from a stressful atmosphere and how we manage stress. And once we are alive, believe me, stress is a natural part of living. So when I realized part of what you do is to help us cope with this monster, yes, I am enthused. So tell me a little bit about you and how you got involved in this area of neurocoaching. What is it all about?
Yes. So before I go there, you just mentioned about stress, and we actually know that research shows us that at least 95% of many illnesses are stress related. And we even know that there are persons who said, you know what, I'm not feeling well, I'm going to go to the emergency room, and I'm going to go to the doctor. And when they sit with the doctor and the doctor do all the various tests, they realize, well, you're a pretty healthy person. And one of the questions that some doctors may ask is, are you stressed out? And once you say that you are stressed out, or if you say that you are stressed out, then they'll be able to maneuver their medical advice to you. So I just wanted to say that before we started. So how did I get involved in this whole realm of neuro coaching or neuroscience? And I think it goes back maybe 2003 or 2005. I was actually attending a youth conference in Cincinnati, Ohio. And one of the lecturers, a doctor, a PhD, can't remember her name. Up to this day, I'm still trying to locate her, and she spoke about the brain. And what really captivated me is when and I never knew anything about this stuff, the brain, and well, I knew about the brain. Everyone knows about the brain, but I never knew anything about neuroscience. And this is what she said. She said the adult brain, comes to maturity around age 25. And then she also explained, and even as I'm saying this, it's really recalling to me now. And she even said, you know what? You tell a child about at-risk behavior. You show them all the films and all the destructive damages and injuries as a result of destructive behavior, at-risk behavior. Yet they do what? They do exactly what you say don't do. And she explained, do you know why? Because their brain is still developing. Their brain has not fully developed until their age 25. And I think that actually planted a seed in my subconscious mind. That fast forward many years after, maybe around 2012, I met Dr. Shad Hemstetter, who certified me as a life coach. And then in 2015, I flew out to Atlanta. I flew out to Texas. I actually went to Atlanta after to do some more certifications. But I flew out to Texas, San Antonio, Texas. And then met Dr. Hemstetter in person, and he certified me again, but in the area of self-talk. And self-talk is based on neuroscience. His coaching product is based on the aspect of neuroscience and how the brain works and how the mind is reprogrammed and programmed, and how the brain is wired and rewired. So I think this started back, as I said, way back 2003 or 2005 when I went to that conference, and that little seed was planted, and it stayed there.
And it just grew into this beautiful plant that's flourishing with branches and leaves and fruits.
Absolutely. And so ironically also, I have a library, a personal library. I always say to my wife, Salita, you know what, just leave my books alone. If I put this book here, please leave my book here. I don't want to be searching for my books, but I've studied many areas, and I have loads of books on personal help and self-growth and self-development and all the books on self-esteem and confidence. And when you read most of the books that I have, they are on the same trajectory. They all basically say the same thing, but packaged in the mind of the author. And when you look into these readings, you actually see neuroscience embedded into the writings of lots of these amazing authors.
So how has this exposure transformed your life personally? The seed would have been planted, and it needs to be planted in fertile ground for the seed to flourish and grow. I've gone to many seminars, and actually sometimes what goes through this ear comes out the other
Yes.
ear, right?
Absolutely.
And so the ground has to be fertile, the mind has to be ready to now get this information, and not only receiving the information, you acted on the information, you've read books, you have gone on to do more certification and more certification. So certainly you must have felt the impact in your own life.
Absolutely. So you said a couple things which are absolutely extremely important. So you said about having the education. So it's good to have the education. You gain the knowledge, you receive the knowledge, but the best part of this equation that I am not a practitioner of all of this. So I give you a context, a better context, even based on my study in neuroscience, my study being certified by Dr. Hemstetter, an amazing individual by Dr. Hemstetter, Shad Hemstetter, being certified, trained and certified by him as a life coach and also a self-taught trainer. And based on the whole aspect of neuroscience and behavioral science and the training and the research that was done, we know that from the moment you were born,
Yes.
and even as I speak to the audience, from the moment you were born, you know, we heard so many messages.
Yes.
Literally. You know, from the moment you were born, we just were on the infamil, you know, the
We
formula.
got slap. I got a big slap.
Yeah.
Why don't you cry?
Yeah.
Get
But-
some air.
Absolutely. But
Yes.
from the moment we were born, or from the moment you were born, you received
Yes.
so many messages. Everything you heard, everything you saw, everything you experienced. Literally, those things were programmed in your mind.
Yes.
But the more you heard those messages, and the reality is where we grew up, even as I say, from the moment you were born, from
Right.
the moment you were born, from the moment Ian Levine, from the moment my mom brought me into this world, Eureka Levine, and thanks to my father, Victor Levine. So we receive these messages and these images and these thoughts and
Yes.
everything programmed in our mind. But the messages became stronger and stronger each day.
Yes.
And the stronger those messages became by the process of repetition.
Yes.
Because subconsciously because we are in the same environment constantly, you are in the same home environment. Then when you get to that school age, you are in the same school age environment. You are with the same teacher for that year, you're with the same students for that year, and then you go back home into that same home environment. So by the process of repetition, and those messages become stronger and more frequent, guess what happened? Those messages actually, remember now we are moving from program in the mind. The messages become stronger and stronger, just like how you are strong. Yeah, just like how you are strong.
I'm wondering, strong? Where?
Physically. And
Yes, I'm strong.
Yeah, absolutely, just
I'm
how you're
strong.
strong. Yeah. So the
Yes.
stronger those messages became,
Yes.
those messages actually got hardwired in our brain.
Yes.
You know, we hear how we were socialized,
Yeah.
and that is who we are today because of the messages received. And also we've been told that by the time a person reaches the age, or would have reached the age of 18, and let's say that person grew up in a reasonably good home, a loving home, stable environment. That person, that child, that young adult would have heard 148,000 no's. You know, like that word no, N-O?
Really?
Yes. By the time, so let's say that you, Lady Elise, yeah?
Yes.
By the time you reached the age of 18, which was literally just a couple years ago.
Just a few years.
Just a few years ago.
Just a few years
Absolutely.
ago. Yes.
You would have heard at least 148,000 no's.
No's.
Yeah. No, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. No, you can't become this. No, you can't become that. I call those actually the negative no's. Because you know you have positive no's. A positive no would be a no that protects you from harm and danger. Or no, I wouldn't recommend it because it wouldn't be productive for you. But the no that I'm speaking about would be those non-productive no's 148,000 times. And we've been told, and I'm coming back to my trainers as a life coach and as a certified self-taught trainer with Dr. Hemstetter, and also all the training I've done with in the area of neuroscience. And also, I must also mention in the area of neuroscience with my certification as a neurocoach. You know, Dr. Shante Javon Taylor she's actually a neuroscience from UCLA. So apart from being trained by Dr. Hemstetter, who is a behavioral researcher, I was also trained and certified by Dr. Shante Javon Taylor, who is, I'd say, literally a neuroscientist. So I got the best of both worlds.
Well, you know, as you touched on that, you know, getting all those no's and getting all the learning you have gotten, some of them might not be too good. How can you fix? You know, we frequently say that a tree, when it's a big tree, it's hard to be trained to go in another direction.
Yes.
How can you change all that if you have had a negative life upbringing or challenges that have caused some sort of issue? How can you change this?
Yes. So what you said would have been true many years ago, or perceived to be true many years ago. You have a bay tree, it can't be bent, but you know, most of us grew up hearing this, that we can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Right?
I guess what, we never rehearsed that. But we knew that. Why do we know that? Because of once again, the process of repetition. And when last did you say that? Literally, I can't remember when last I said that, but I heard that growing up, so it became hardwired in my brain. But how do we teach an old dog new tricks? And may I say that is not quite the truth, that you know, that we can't teach an old dog new trick.
We can't teach an old dog some new tricks?
Absolutely. And I have a big word for you. The word, and once again, we're still into neuroscience and we're still into self-taught. So the word is neuroplasticity.
Neuroplasticity.
Yeah. So do you have a rubber band here with you?
I gotta get one. Where's a rubber band?
Yeah, we are going to, if you have a rubber band, we are going to stay. If you have a rubber band is going to be thrown right here on the platform. So we don't have a rubber band, but we know the meaning of plastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when we have a plastic, it's
pliable. It can stretch it.
There you go. It's pliable. It can be.
Yes.
It can be stretched and stretched and stretched and stretched. And when we hear the word neuro, what do we think about?
The mind.
The mind or the brain. And next time I come on the show, if you are gracious enough to invite me back,
that depends on if my mind is bent in the right direction. Let's see how this neurocoaching will work with me. Yes.
So I never wanted to bring too much props with me, but next time I come, if you're so gracious to invite me back, I'm going to bring my little brain, and I'm going to bring my bigger head. The brain is smaller and the head is bigger. So remember neuroplasticity.
Neuroplasticity, yes.
So simply saying that the brain has the capacity
to stretch
to be pliable,
and learn something new.
There you go.
Yes.
And once again, not all the trainers, but we know that lots of the trainers and lots of the seminars we go to, we hear the key buzzwords. We hear about the growth mindset and the fixed mindset.
Yes.
And I'm going to get myself in a bit of trouble right here, because I often say to my wife Salita,
hi Salita, welcome to Sensational Sunday. I hope you're tuned in and listening. Yes.
Yeah. And so I only say this to her, but now I am on national, not just national, but on an international platform, a global platform.
Yes.
You know, and I have reasoning why I say this, and it goes back to what you said earlier. You know, you read all the books and you go to all the seminars and you listen to all the DVDs and tapes, but you still haven't changed.
Right.
And there's a question that I often ask. It's training. We go to training, but the training that we get, is it enough to change us? And the answer is, and I often say, you know, training does not change us. Why? Because for some of us, we are sent. For some of us, we just want to to go somewhere to learn something new.
We need the hours. We need it to qualify to do something, and we're not sticking off the box. It just
absolutely.
Requires,
and we have the training is excellent. I've gone to many training globally across the world. Awesome training, but if we don't put that training into practice, so the same thing, you can hear about the self-talk, and you can go to the seminars, but you might say, well, nothing isn't changing, and then
you can't teach an old dog. In your mind you said that.
There you go. And then something unfortunate happens. You start to blame the trainer. And the trainer, you say, the trainer wasn't good, and the training wasn't good, and the trainer, we're not going to bring him back next year. But they will really sit back and do a self-evaluation. So how do we do this? We do this by the process of what we spoke about, repetition. How did we learn a new language? And can I speak to the gracious viewers right here? Did you learn a new language? That language that you're speaking, be it English, Tagalog, be it French, or whatever. You learned that by what? One simple word, by repetition. The process. There you go. You see, you can you don't need.
I am ready, guys.
You don't need to hear from me anymore, but by the process of repetition. And I am in no means giving a plug for the real estate agents or the gurus in real estate, but when they speak about real estate, there is one word, and they turn it into a phrase, into a catchphrase, which is a reality. They say what? Location.
Yes.
You can have the best building in the world, but if it's not situated in the right location, the possibility exists that you may not get the clientele or the business that you're expecting. So how do we teach an old dog new tricks? How do we teach Lady Elise, to become a different person?
I am ready to change my life for better.
There you go.
I'm ready.
Absolutely. So by the process of repetition. Let me hear you say repetition.
It is a repetitious time to change our life to something good, to something positive. Sometimes we have been fed so much negative, and you don't have to look too far. You have your phone, you have your devices, you have all of this. Sometimes we are bombarded with so much negative things, mindset around us. And for us to break out of this that captures us in this little box, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes determination. But if you are logged on to Sensational Sundays, I have said to you now, you are at the right location. So we are going to continue the conversation after this very short break.
last. Raise your voices up to echo through the skies. Make a wish, a ray of hope, and lend a helping hand. Share the joy, the brighter day. The change begins with you. The change begins with you and you. Make a wish, a ray of hope, and lend a helping hand. Share the joy, a brighter day. The change begins with you. The change begins with you.
Welcome back, welcome back. I am happy that you decided to stick and stay with us. I'm your girl Elise, and in studio with me is Dr. Lavine, and we are thinking and talking about your mind. Yes, and now we left off about thinking about those negative things that bombard us. I'm sure you have been exposed. Where are all these negative things coming from, Doc?
You really want to hear?
I really want. I am all ears.
You're all ears.
All ears. All ears.
All body, soul, and spirit.
All body, soul, and spirit. Yes.
They came from our parents.
Our parents.
They came from our grandparents.
Our grandparents.
They came from our siblings who were older than us.
How?
They came from our teachers.
How?
They came from any and everyone who had any level of influence over our lives.
Wow.
And once again, it's not their fault. Why it's not their fault?
Yes.
Because they were also programmed. By who?
By their parents
by-
and grandparents
And teachers.
and teachers.
And whoever else.
Yes.
Remember that the strongest messages will always win.
What are some of these negative messages, though?
You're a fool. You're just like your father. And many times when we hear this phrase, you're just like your father, we know that it's coming from a negative place of hurt. I haven't really heard anyone say this, you're like your father and meant anything really
Good.
really good. But if my person said to my three daughters, I have three daughters. My
Yes.
first daughter is 20, my second daughter is going to be 18 next month, and my third daughter is going to be 13 next month. And I'm just
Oh.
saying this as a bit of humor, just to keep it light, because sometimes what we are saying can become a bit heavy,
Yes.
but I've never really heard anyone when they say to my daughters, "You're just like your father." It's said with
Certainly.
it's said with a negative connotation.
Yes, yes.
Or for
Yes.
me personally growing up
Yes.
with my parents, if someone say, Ian Levine, you're just like your father, they probably meant, you're humorous like your father, or you have the physiological structure of your
Yes,
father,
yes.
but things like, you're dumb, you're stupid,
You won't come to anything.
you won't come to anything. Why did you fail this exam? And the list goes on, and on and on and on. So you're hearing these messages from your household, and then you're going into school and you're hearing the messages, unfortunately, sometimes from your teacher and your peers at school. I remember, and once again, no fault of their own, because that is the way they were socialized, but we can't use this as an excuse for them. But personally, I also remember growing up in school, I wanted to do a particular examination, and my teacher said, well, you can't do it because I started that particular subject late, and the teacher within their mind figured that,
You're not ready.
that I'm not ready. But guess what? Ian Levine, earlier you say you're on the show, your girl Elise, well, your boy Ian. So Ian Levine, I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to do this.
Yes.
And it was CXC. So my teacher said, well, we are not going to enter you for the CXC. So I said, okay, no worries. And I went home and I told my parents, God bless them, they're still alive. For those of you, if your parents are still alive, cherish your parents. My two parents are still alive, and I give God thanks for them. So my parents said, no worry, Ian, you want to do it, you can manage. And I said, yes, and my parents paid for me.
Yes.
Paid CXC. Because back then, you're doing your CXC, and that falls on the school. But if you were, so I had to do it privately. In terms of how to do it on my own. So my parents paid for me, and I did the exam, and I passed the exam. I can't remember what the response from the teacher was, but I passed the exam. So yes, we get those negative messages from various sources. And now that we are in this technological age, you have two phones.
Yes, one for each ear.
One for each ear, and then you have your laptop, one for two eyes. Everyone in my house,
yes,
we all have a phone.
Yes.
And persons are on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram.
Right.
So apart from receiving the negative messages from our human engagement,
yes,
we are also receiving it from this.
Yes.
From the social media, And when you see the social media is telling the persons, how their ideal way it's supposed to be. So when you're
not good enough,
go on social media, you see, well, I'm not this ideal way.
Yes.
Then that's a negative message.
Yes. Or you're not the right shade of skin. Your complexion is just a little bit too.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And one of the biggest lies we've often heard, and we heard actually also growing up. And it's only after I came into the neuroscience and the self-taught that I also realized that this little catchphrase phrase isn't true. And we can say this together: sticks and stones may break,
but words, yes,
can never hurt us, or can
never hurt us.
Sticks and stones, but how many persons around the world? Millions. The population of the world is what we're clocking almost 9 billion.
Yes.
And I can assure you that millions upon millions upon millions.
Yes.
Have been
broken by
words. By the words.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's not a true statement.
It's not a true statement.
Yes.
And even from the era of behavioral psychology, we've been told, never embarrass a person. And all this, we're still on self-taught here. We're still dealing with the mind and the brain and neuroscience. But even delving into behavioral science. And have you ever been embarrassed before?
I have.
And how have you felt? How did that make you feel?
Useless.
Yes.
And then trying to spin it around to feel good.
Okay.
It's a difficult place because you feel worthless.
Yes, absolutely. And for the viewers there, have you ever been embarrassed before? And I know some of you, the answer is yes. So we've been told behavioral science still on the brain and the mind, that when you embarrass a person, you know what happens?
What?
It creates just not merely casually a negative response, but it creates and I want you to really digest this, and I want our listening and viewing audience to really digest this. So when some person is embarrassed, it creates a negative physiological response in their body. Just not in their mind and
in
their brain.
Body.
A negative physiological response in their body. And so that is why when a person is embarrassed, their instinct, their normal natural reaction, some person may cry, some person may want to fight, And some person may actually fight because it creates a negative physiological response in the body. And why is that? It's that way because our brain, we are always on the high alert. There's a part in our brain, and we'll get to speak about that on another show, but there's a part of our brain known as the amygdala. You know, the amygdala, and that is a part of the emotional aspect of the brain. And we spoke earlier about this stress response. Stress. You know, we have the 3 F's. You know, we fight, flight, or freeze. So our brain is always in that high alert state. We're no longer chasing after the saber-toothed tiger. We are no longer, there's no need for us per se for our brain to be always looking for danger, but our brain is always on high alert looking for danger. Where we are in this studio, we don't have to really worry about danger. In this day and age, our cars, we have our doors are locked, we have alarm, and so we don't have to be on high alert. But for many persons, because of the negative programming, which was actually once again programmed in our mind and hardwired in our brain, we are always on edge. And then the neural pathways in our brain, because we've been wired and programmed with all these negative messages, every time we receive something negative, guess what happens? The neural pathways, they do this. They start to search in the brain for similar messages. You're an idiot. And you know what your brain is going to say? Okay, you're an idiot. I think I saw that somewhere before.
So right away you have a whole chapter. Many pages.
You're fat.
Yes.
Okay, you're fat and ugly. And your brain says, whoops. I think I heard that. That is stored somewhere in the brain, and then your brain starts to search for the similar programs, and then your brain
cement it in your mind,
and then you're gonna say and
you act it out.
Absolutely. So then the way you feel, persons are going to just reciprocate that onto you. You tell yourself I'm fat and ugly, and you know you go somewhere or you have an experience or an engagement, and all of a sudden you in your space you can feel this energy coming on to you once again, because we were programmed.
You know,
and before you go on, and then we are also, my apologies please, 77% of what we think is negative thought, 77%, and we know that we have up to, according to research, up to, and I know the numbers are bigger, up to 60,000 thoughts per day.
Wow.
But regardless of how many thousand thoughts we have per day, you know, at least, and this is very minimum, this is actually very generous, at least 77% of those thoughts are negative thoughts which are counterproductive thoughts, which work against
what percentage?
77%. 77.
No, we have to convert that. Can we just convert that number by self-talk?
Of course, absolutely.
Because you know, as I listen to the conversation and recognize the importance of training your mind in a positive way, it has impact on your physical well-being. Yes, your mental well-being.
Yes.
How you relate to others, how you perform at work, what you will become. If you'll become an author, perhaps you'll be writing a book, or maybe you will be a guest right here on Sensational Sunday, or what you do in life.
Absolutely. And as you said that, I have the...
I notice you have a nice book here.
I have a nice book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, and this is by my mentor, my trainer, Dr. Shad Hemstetter, and this was written in the 80s. The self-taught that is done by Dr. Hemstetter is actually trademark, and self-taught was actually developed by Dr. Hemstetter in the 1980s.
Yes.
Literally in the 1980s. Yes. So this is tried and tested. Self-talk is helping literally hundreds of thousands or probably millions of persons. Dr. Hemstetter has appeared on Oprah Winfrey Show, ABC, NBC, CNN News, and
Flashpoint too.
And Flashpoint through me. Absolutely.
And Flashpoint through you. And I'm glad that you're bringing the conversation in that direction, because now that we have laid the foundation and we recognize that negative thoughts have been implanted in our mind for however long, right? And we recognize it has impact on our physical well-being, our mental well-being. Now we want to fix it.
There you
Now
go.
we want to change our circumstance. We want, even if it's a big tree, cotton tree, how much years old, standing strong, we can make some change in order to make our lives healthier and happier. And that's where self-talk comes in. Now tell me, we always hear that if you talk to yourself, we have to start wondering if things are right with you. But tell us about this self-talk and how we can get ourselves, pull ourselves up by the straps,
Yes.
and face life head on, even amidst the challenges.
Yes, absolutely. So we're going to face life, just not head on. We're going to face it mind on and brain on and self-talk on. So what is self-talk? What you say when you talk to yourself.
Right.
Every waking moment for the average normal person, we have thoughts.
Yes.
Every waking moment. So by the time you jump up, for some of you you probably jump startle in the morning and then you realize, oh, I overslept. But every waking moment we have thoughts. And
Right.
the whole process of self-talk is to consciously replace all negative, non-productive habits with or thoughts with new empowering messages.
Right.
And just as you mentioned this, when I do my coaching, and it sounds very what I'm going to say sounds different, but when I do my coaching and my consulting, and persons ask me about how do I steer people in the direction of changing bad habits, I say we don't speak about bad habits. And then they look at me and say, well, I don't know who trained you. I don't know where you are certified, but how can you be coaching persons and say that you don't focus on bad habits? I say, no. No ma'am, no sir, no boy, no girl, no CEO, no executive. I don't speak about changing bad habits. What do I speak about?
Tell me.
You're ready to hear.
I'm ready. I'm all ears. we
are
all ears.
Are you ready to hear?
Yes.
And it sounds very casual, very simple, but I speak about creating new habits. And this is what self-talk is about, through the process of repetition. Because when you create new habits, when you have new programs, when you have a new mindset, guess what is going to happen naturally and over a period of time, but sooner than rather later. So you create new habits, new programs naturally. It's just like we have. What color is this, by the way? They say men are colorblind, but what?
It's a beautiful orange.
It's a beautiful orange. But,
Yes.
But what? Even if it's not orange, whatever color this is. So say that, and we can see right here, and we are using this as a good practical
Yes.
example.
Right.
So this is orange right here.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And we want to change this to a different color.
Pink.
Right, pink. What are we going to do? We're going to just
I have to get the fabric.
Yes. And put the fabric over this.
Yes.
And it's going to become what?
Pink.
So you create new habits.
Yes.
When you create new habits, when you create new programs and new wirings for the brain,
Yes.
naturally, the old habits will disappear. So I don't tell a person, deal with your old habits or negative thoughts this way. Say, we create new programs.
Yes.
And because the new programs are strong enough, they
Yes.
will
Yes.
cancel the old habits, the old programs,
Yes.
and we are going to be good to go. We heard about this 21 day. It takes 21 days to form a habit.
Yes.
There is some truth to that, but it's not particularly true.
Yeah.
It takes 21 days to create that habit. You do something consistently for 21 days, it becomes almost normal or almost natural. So it creates an imprint in the mind and brain within 21 days. But there's some new research that says no, it takes at least 66 days to cement that habit, to solidify that habit, to hardwire that habit in your brain. So yes, 21 days is a good start, but really to cement that, to get that strong, to solidify that new habit is going to take, as I said, the new research shows at least 66 days. So how do we get rid of an old habit or old mindset? Just create new habits and new mindsets, and you will be guaranteed that the old habits will disappear. Because remember, we said this earlier, how did we get here in the first place? We got here in the first place by the strongest messages always win, by the process of repetition. So if the strongest messages will always win, it means that when we apply the new programs and the self-talk and the positive, all the positive stuff, whether you call this positive thinking or affirmations or whatever, but once we apply this to our lives on a consistent basis, repetition is a part of the package, a part of, I was about to say the secret, but I would say a part of the process. Once we do that, you can be guaranteed. Some persons say there's no guarantee, but we can guarantee that, that you will see that change. You will become a new you. Remember, this is about 3 things: renew your mind, rewire your brain, and reinventing your life.
You have to say that again. You gotta say it. Repetition deepens impression. Listen, repeat, Dr. Lavine, repeat.
So I have the 3 R's. So you're going to renew your mind, rewire your brain, and what is going to happen? You're going to reinvent your life. Renew your mind, rewire your brain, reinvent your life.
Are you ready to reinvent your life? Stay to Sensational Sunday. We'll have more with Dr. Lavine after this short break.
Johnny, oh Johnny, Johnny used to go to church when he had no money in his pocket. Johnny was always faithful in his work. Whenever the door was open, he was at church. Johnny's prayer was, Lord bless me, I need a job, I'm on my face. God bless Johnny with a job he was not qualified for. Now we hardly find time for church. Oh Johnny, remember where you're coming from and where your life could have been. God bless you with a better life, and now you hardly find time for it. Oh Johnny, remember where you're coming from and where your life could have been. God bless you with a better life, and now you hardly find time for it. Oh, when you were nothing, you used to walk in his presence, slowly patient, waiting on him. Now you have a degree, a master, and a PhD. Then you try to contradict everything. Remember when you were on your knees saying, Lord, I need a car. If you bless me, I would come to church more often. God did bless you, and where did you part? Oh Johnny, remember where you're coming from and where your life could have been. God bless you with a better life, and now you hardly find time for it. Oh Johnny, remember where you're coming from and where your life could have been. God bless you with a better life, and now you hardly find time for it. to bed. Even thank him for every little slice of bread. Remember when you couldn't afford to buy your shoes, now you can buy any style and color that you choose. Why can't you teach your children how to pray? Your mother taught you, that's why you're even blessed today. Satan's trying hard to keep you occupied, but God has been so good, he has never left your side. Johnny, remember where you're coming from and where your life would have been. God bless you with a better life, and now you ought to find time for it. Oh, Johnny, remember where you're coming from and where your life could have been. God bless you with a better life, and now you ought to find time for it. Oh, remember where you're coming from.
When you need ultrasound that's safe and effective, you must visit Asai Ultrasound Imaging. They're conveniently located at number 4, Chestnut Center, Smith Road, Georgetown, Cayman Islands. With experienced technologists with over 20 years experience, their friendly staff will make you comfortable while you get your procedure done. Asai Ultrasound Imaging is open Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Call Asai Ultrasound Imaging 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426. That's 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426.
Welcome back to Sensational Sunday. Have you ever been in a place where you feel that there is no hope? Have you ever been in that place where you wonder what next? Have you ever been in that place where you're overwhelmed with all the stresses of life and you don't know where to turn? Well, there's hope. There is hope for us all. We have been told that the mind is indeed a very powerful, powerful thing. And now we are realizing that we can change the way we think. We can change all the negative input that we have been given for our lives. We can change starting right now. Yes. You're tuned into Sensational Sunday. I'm your girl Elise, and we are in studio with Dr. LAVINE, and we're talking about changing your life, changing the way you think, the way you approach life, changing all the negative energy and vibes. Let's change it around and turn it into some positive vibes as we get started this week. It doesn't matter when you're viewing, if it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or this Sensational Sunday. We are happy that you have decided to join. I want to thank all the viewers. I've seen the chat quite active, and I say a special good afternoon to you and welcome to Sensational Sunday. Now we are continuing the conversation as we try to make our lives, your life, my life, better. Because as you mentioned, you asked a question, have you ever been embarrassed?
Mm-hmm.
And I recognize as responsible individuals too, we can be a part of the positive experience for someone else.
Absolutely.
So it's not all about, yes, I want to make myself better, but how can I make your life better? I could be having a horrible day and you can make it a little better. And that's what we want to do today. So, Dr. LAVINE,
Yes.
I want to thank you for having gathered all this information, having traveled, having gone ahead and been certified, and not keeping it to yourself, right? You are here sharing these pearls of wisdom so that our lives can be better.
Yes, absolutely. And we are here to, as I often say, you know, we're changing our life one thought at a time.
Yes.
Not a million and one thoughts,
Yes.
but one thought at a time. And the Stoic philosophers always speak about self-control and having that level of self-discipline.
Yes.
And then we're changing our life one thought at a time. And then you're also changing your life one thought at a time. I want to first encourage you to have self-discipline and self-control.
Yes.
And out of the book that I have from my mentor, and actually this was part
What's
of...
the topic of that
Oh,
book?
okay, this is what to say when you talk to yourself. And
Yes.
Dr. Hemstetter would have written lots of books.
Yes.
And still writing.
Yes.
And it says here in chapter 1, looking for a better way.
Mm-hmm.
And I speak directly to you and to your life, to your mind, to your brain, to your soul, and also to your spirit. You are everything that is. Your thoughts, your life, your dreams come true. You are everything you choose to be. You are as unlimited as the endless universe. That is you. That is who you are. Changing your life one thought at a time. Waking up each morning and giving yourself positive thoughts and affirmations. Yes, at first it's going to seem funny, strange, unrealistic. When you wake up and you say, I am great, I am special, I am strong, whatever positive word you choose to use to yourself. Yes, your mind is going to say, well, you know what? There's nothing good about you. There's nothing healthy about you. There's nothing strong about you. You remember what you were told many years ago?
Or remember what you did yesterday.
There you go.
Yes.
Yesterday.
Yes.
Or better yet, 5 minutes ago.
Yes, yes.
But as you do this on a regular basis, through the process of repetition, you feed your mind, you feed your soul and your spirit. You even have your little book that you can take,
Your journal.
Yeah, your journal, and you every morning or as often as you can, 3 times a day, you know, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yes.
Take time to read one of those scripts.
It's like a prescription.
There, absolutely. A prescription that is going to
Do
go...
this daily and change your life.
Absolutely.
Yes.
With self-talk.
With self-talk.
Positive self-talk.
Positive self-talk. Yes, yes.
So you do that every single day.
What are some simple things though, Dr. LAVINE? Because as I'm sitting here, sometimes you struggle to get the positive out. The negative thoughts bombard your mind so much that even to carve out that time to just say, you know, I can do this. You know, I can do all things through Christ which strengthened me. And then immediately all the things that you didn't do
Yeah.
they just come rushing. You're like, where did they just come, and it just erodes what you were trying to do.
Yeah.
You know, how do you just push through when there's so much sometimes bombarding you?
And that is perfectly normal.
Yes.
That when you start to enter the realm of positive self-talk, you're going to be reminded internally, this isn't who you are. So forget the self-talk, forget what Dr. Ian Levine just said to you, forget about Dr. Hemstetter's book. But by the results literally that we've been receiving through Dr. Hemstetter's organization, relative to when persons use self-talk on a daily basis, their lives are being literally transformed. We know that seeing is believing.
Right.
Our brain thinks in, I believe, 60% of images. So what I encourage persons to do is to have your little script. You set a journal. We have those little post-its.
Right.
Obviously, we don't want to make our bedroom or our little space too messy. or work
Messy for a cause.
Messy for a cause. Cause to be messy.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Cause
Yes.
to enlighten your room.
Yes.
So I encourage persons to have your little post-it, your notes, your journal, and write a catchphrase in that journal or on that post-it, and have that post-it somewhere visible. Have it by in your bedroom, by your mirror. And you don't want to have it in too much of a communal area. You don't want to have, some persons say put stuff on your fridge. I don't encourage persons to put stuff on your fridge because you have visitors at your home, and your self-talk is between you and you.
Personal.
Because between you and you and your brain, you and your mind. But keep it in somewhere private, but somewhere where you have daily access to that. And a simple script can be, today is a wonderful day for me. And you aren't going overboard. A simple, and you simply just...
How can you write, today is a wonderful day, where your rent is late, you don't have any money, and you're out of a job?
Okay, so good question. So this is what happens in our brain. There's a part in our brain known as the reticular activating system, the RAS.
Yes.
The reticular activating system.
Right.
And that acts as a filter.
Yes.
The reticular activating system is like the PA, the personal assistant to the CEO or the president of the organization. Like the diary. That person decides who will see the president today or the CEO. That person controls the diary. So the RAS, the reticular activating system, this is what happens. So as you just said, how can we say today is a wonderful day, you have your rent, or you just got bad news? When you feed your mind and your brain with wholesome, productive, positive thoughts, your mind and your brain is so capable and has the capacity and the ability to solve problems, to take you from A to Z. So when you do that, you are and you do that consciously. You say this consciously. You say it with faith. You say it with belief. And yes, there are going to be anxious moments and moments that you're going to feel, well, this isn't working, but you allow your mind and your brain to navigate the system to you. And when you start to do this and you mean it and you feel it and you digest it, you will be surprised to see, even if it's just in a simple, small, minuscule way, that the right persons are going to be drawn to you, the right resources. I've heard too many examples.
Yes.
Not examples in the storybook, not examples in the nursery rhyme, but I've heard too many real life critical situation examples where persons did what we're speaking about.
Yes.
Relax. Let the process take it.
Yes.
Let the process go through the process.
Yes.
And then persons will say, money came in from a source, or my business was slow and X amount of customers came into there, bought X amount of products that I was not able to pay my rent. There is always, we say, light at the end of the tunnel. For me, I don't say light at the end of the tunnel because sometimes the tunnel is so dark. It's too long. There you go. And the light is so small. So what I say, there is light going through the tunnel. There is light going through the tunnel. And we're not saying and earlier when we started, you were saying, is there a magic formula or a magical pill? The reality is there is not. This isn't like, you have a headache and you take, I'm not going to call any prescription drugs so that it wouldn't seem like I'm advertising for any particular brand. But this isn't like a headache that you take a pain medication and it goes away. you know, there's symptoms, there's an underlying something there that has caused that. Probably
Yes.
you never ate enough for the morning. You probably dehydrated. There's so many. So once you do this, I want to assure you, I want to give you the hope and the encouragement and the inspiration that once you engage in these positive messages, and just stick on with just one message for a couple of weeks. And yes, it's quite normal. We're seeing this in self-talk, and we're seeing this through the Self-Talk Institute, that when you start to engage with the positive self-talk, that your brain is going to become counterproductive. Your brain is going to remind you, well, no, that ain't so about you. But better yet, we have realized that through the self-talk, the positive self-talk, that once person do this, you know, you naturally, there seems to be a God-given instinct and a force and an innate drive, the will to survive, because our brain was actually created to thrive, not just survive. Our brain was created to thrive, and our brain and our mind has the answers there. So once we do this, the answers will come. And what I also want to say is that sometimes we give up too quickly, and then we say, you know, self-talk don't work, or Dr. Ian Levine, his method never work, or Lady Elise on Flashpoint Media, you know, it never worked. Because you did it today, you expect the answer not even tomorrow. You expect that you did it today, you expect the answer a
Today.
second, and
Yes.
not even today, but
Instant.
Instant.
Yes, it's an instant world, you know.
Yeah, instant world, and we've been hypnotized by the instant world.
Yes,
and
yes.
that we don't give our
We have to
existence.
nurture our mind.
There you go. Absolutely.
Nurture our brain.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So it's quite okay. It's quite natural that when you start the process of positive self-talk,
Yes.
that you're going to have the resistance. But as I said before, once we sit in the process, we
Stick to it.
and we relax, just like how I'm relaxing. You just say the affirmation and you relax.
Yes.
And you visualize and you believe, and you are really serious about what you want to become a reality in your life, and you're going to see the miracles taking place. We have literally seen the positive benefit of person using self-talk on a regular basis. Remember, repetition.
Deepens.
Repetition.
I already I'm thinking about what I'm going to be writing on my mirror.
Yes.
What I'm going to be saying each morning, and the next time we have a conversation, I will be able to update you on where I am in the process of creating a good habit and doing some self-talk. Now, self-talk, this is just the tip. I would say the tip of the iceberg. And of course, Dr. Levine will be hosting the self-talk program right here on Flashpoint. So you'll be able to hear much more about how you can change your life. Now, as we are about to get out of studio, I want you to share with the listener, all the listeners, something you want to take away today from the conversation that we have had today. Something to get them through this week. You know, persons are listening with different issues. And I believe once you are alive, once you're above ground, there's always something that you have to navigate. And there are difficulties, and sometimes we don't know where to turn. But an encouraging word could make the world of a difference.
Yes.
So I want you to share with a listener, a viewer, something positive to get them through.
Absolutely. So we know we are speaking about self-talk, positive self-talk, and I want to just say that I'm a person of faith, and what we are this setting right here, right now, our engagement isn't a theological discourse or discussion. This is not a religious coaching session, but as a person of faith, just like everyone else has their own particular viewpoint, I leave two things with you. But as a person of faith, and I believe in God's word, I believe in the sacred biblical text, and it says in the book of Proverbs 3, chapter 3, verses 5 and 6, And it says to trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not unto your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Some translations say he will make your path smooth and straight. So trust in God with all your heart. Lean not unto your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path smooth and straight. That's number one. As a man of faith, I think I am inclined and obligated to say that that's number one. And number two, back to the positive self-talk. Remember earlier we said that the strongest messages win. I want you, even if you can write that down right now, get your pen, get your paper. I always encourage persons not to use too much gadgets when they're doing self-talk. I want to bring back persons to a level of contractual engagement with themselves, with pen and paper, because it takes effort, it takes energy, and you are engaging with exactly who you are when you write things. I give you 2 seconds just to get a pen and paper, or a paper and pen, whatever you want to get. 1 second, 2 seconds. I want you to write this, please. The strongest messages win. The strongest messages win. And what do we mean by that? So every time you have those positive self-talk, you repeat those to yourself daily, at least 3 times per day. But repeat. And just like when my hand knocked that and you felt the vibration and you heard the noise, that is exactly what is going to happen to you when you're going to feel the effect. So I want you to do that. Repeat those messages to yourself. Say it to yourself. Read it on a daily basis. Internalize it. And guess what? Those messages will become stronger and stronger and stronger. And it is those messages that will win. The strongest messages win.
Thank you so much, Dr. LAVINE. I feel ready. I feel ready to face the next moment, the next day. I feel that there is hope and there's light in the tunnel.
Yes, not just at the end of the
tunnel. Not just at the end.
But there's like going through the tunnel.
As you're going through your process, as you're going through your struggle, listener, viewer, whoever it is that's listening, whatever you're facing, we want to thank Dr. LAVINE, and I encourage you to look forward and to log on, as he is going to be bringing his program right here on Flashpoint, and we will discuss more about self-talk, changing your life one thought at a time.
Absolutely.
Remember, the strongest messages, they do win. So I want to thank you for tuning in to Sensational Sunday. I'm your girl Elise, and I encourage you to move and step forward in faith and know that God's got you, even in the darkest moment. Peace and love to you. Sensational Sundays with your girl Elise on Flashpoint Radio. Come, let's talk, let's hang, let's just jam on Sunday.